Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to our distinguished panel for being here today. And I also, please tell the men and women that work for y'all, thank you on behalf of us as well. I spent 9 years as an undercover officer in the CIA. I was in the CIA when 9/11 happened, and to think that if you would have asked me then that there wouldn't be a major attack on our homeland for over 14 years, I would have said y'all are crazy. But we haven't had one because the men and women in y'all's organizations are working as if it's September 12th every single day in the operational discipline and tenacity that takes. I recognize that and understand that, and my hats go off to them. It's great representing the 23rd Congressional District of Texas, but it's also great representing those men and women that are doing that. I represent over 820 miles of the border. So Secretary Johnson, I'm here to report to you that you have some hardworking men and women in Border Patrol and Customs along that border. I had the awesome opportunity to award 3 of them with the Congressional Medal for valor. They went above and beyond during a flood. It read like straight out of a movie, and so I see what these men and women are doing every day. And one issue that they do have is, and don't need to address it here, but I'd like to work with your staff, and this probably impacts the FBI as well, Director Comey, and this is the right sizing of the federal fleet. I think GSA's requirements don't take into account the unique challenges that law enforcement has to deal with, and nor folks on the border. And so I look forward to working with whoever in y'all's office is on maybe this issue, and looking at solving that problem with the GSA. And Secretary Johnson, I'm also interested in learning from your staff on how y'all calculate gotaways and that process, and that's something I'd welcome, you know, a analysis of that from the correct folks on your team, if that's okay. And my first question to you, Secretary Johnson, is this cyber deal with China that was recently announced. Have we seen any impact that's having on attacks on our critical infrastructure from the Chinese?
I would say it's at this point too early to make an informed assessment. One thing that I will be looking to see is whether in our follow-up engagement, which I hope to have in December, we'll see real progress building on what we have agreed to on paper. And so that, to me, will be a first indicator of whether or not the Chinese are taking seriously what they agreed to do when they were here in September.
Excellent. And like you in your opening remarks, I hope the Senate sends us a bill so that we can, you know, reconcile those differences and get something to the President to sign, because cybersecurity is important. Director Comey, I appreciate your opening remarks, and you're stressing that the Bureau is not seeking any legislative issues regarding the going dark phenomenon or encryption, because there's still a perception out there amongst the private sector and privacy groups that the FBI is still looking for a backdoor or a front door to encryption. We all know that that's technically not able to do that, and if you allow the good guys to have access to the back door, then you're allowing the bad guys to have access to the back door. And my question, though, is when you have groups like ISIS using social media tools to increase their effort, doesn't that also give us an opportunity to increase our targeting of these groups?
Thank you, Congressman. First, with respect to your predicate, I honestly don't agree with your framing of it in terms of the encryption issue. I don't think there is a single it. Right? It's a very complicated technical landscape. I resist the term backdoor. I know it dominates the conversation today, but I don't know what the answer is. And I see lots of companies who are able to provide secure services to their customers, and they still comply with court orders. And so people tell me it's impossible. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, but so here's my question, though. A lot of folks, I've sat down and talked with these people, and I've even talked with people in your organization about, give me the use cases in which the case actually went cold. Because even if you have people using a device, you may not get the plain text information, but you do have the device. You do know that someone's using that. You do know the location of that device. So saying that you still can't target terrorists that way and throwing certain companies under the bus by saying they're not cooperating, I don't think that's an accurate portrayal of what's really going on.
Yeah, and I don't mean, I hope you didn't hear me to throw anybody under the bus. We're collecting, and we will get you hundreds and hundreds of cases, but to me that actually doesn't, I think everybody agrees the logic of encryption means that all of our work will be severely affected by it, but I don't think that's the end of the conversation. The question is, how much do we care about that, and what can we do about it? We will demonstrate the cases where it affects criminal work and intelligence work and national security work, but I don't think that ends the conversation.
100% agree, and I disagree a little bit with some of your opening remarks that there was a conflict in our values. I don't think there's a conflict of our values. Our civil liberties are the things that make our country great, and we can protect our civil liberties and our digital infrastructure and give our men and women that are working hard to keep us safe every single day the tools they need in order to continue to protect us in an increasing environment. I'm over my time. I look forward to working with you on this issue in the private sector because this is something that we can solve. I yield back, Chairman.